If someone looked from the outside, they would say Luisa's life was simple, but beautiful. She was 34, soft-spoken, and had the kind of smile that made any client feel like they'd known her for years. Since she was young, she dreamed of working with beauty, not out of vanity, but because she genuinely believed the right haircut could give someone the courage to restart their life. After years of taking courses, working at small salons, and riding crowded buses with a heavy tool bag in hand, she finally managed to open her own space, a small salon behind the house she shared with her husband, Eduardo. It was a tiny room she had transformed with her own hands. Light-colored walls, a shade she called color of calm, a comfortable chair, a wide mirror, plants, a shelf full of products, and on the wall, a phrase she had painted herself. Sometimes a new haircut is just the excuse the soul finds to move forward. She remembered the day she painted those words. It was a Sunday morning, and Eduardo had brought her breakfast while she worked. He stood behind her, arms crossed, smiling as she carefully traced each letter. "You're going to inspire so many people, Lou," he had said. She believed him completely. The salon became her sanctuary. Every product on that shelf had been chosen with care, every plant placed to bring life into the space. She wanted her clients to feel what she felt there: hope. A place where transformation wasn't just about appearance, but about finding yourself again. Eduardo, to anyone watching, was the supportive husband. An engineer, 40 years old, easy smile, the kind of man everyone praised. "Luisa, you're so lucky. He helps you so much. It's obvious he admires you." And in the beginning, she believed it too. He was the first to encourage her to open the salon. He helped choose the chair, installed shelves, fixed the lights. During the first weeks, he would come by with coffee, bring her cake, ask how things were going. He would kiss her forehead and say, "You were born for this, Lou. You transform women." And she smiled proudly. She truly believed that with him by her side, she could do anything. Her mother had warned her once years ago. During their engagement, marriage is about choosing each other every single day, Mina Filha. Not just once at the altar. Luisa thought she understood. But now, looking back, she realized she had been choosing Eduardo every day, while he had stopped choosing her months ago. Still, she pushed the thought away. He was tired. Work was demanding. This was just a phase. That's what she told herself every time doubt crept in, every time his kiss felt mechanical, every time he looked at her but didn't really see her. Saturdays were busy. Neighbors came for blowouts, teenagers for new bangs, older ladies to fix the gray. Between shampoo, dye, and laughter, Luisa heard everything. Broken marriages, forbidden crushes, dreams on pause. Irony of life, she was an expert at listening to other people's stories, but had no idea which one was unfolding inside her own house. Because little by little, Eduardo started changing. First, the overtime. Then, late-night messages answered in the hallway in a whisper. Dinners became rare, conversations shorter, his eyes distant. But Luisa, like many women, chose to believe the best. He's tired. Work must be demanding. This phase will pass. She had no idea the truth would arrive in the most unexpected, ironic way, sitting right in her chair, cape around her shoulders, asking just a cut, please. Now she could see all the signs clearly. Back then, they felt like small things. Eduardo started coming home smelling freshly showered, even after a normal day. He went to bed with his phone glued to his hand, always face down. He no longer left it lying around anywhere. One day he went out quickly to see a friend going through a hard separation. He came home late, wearing a perfume she didn't recognize. Not his, not hers, someone else's. "Whose perfume is that?" she asked lightly, half joking. "Oh, one I tried at a store," he said, not meeting her eyes. She swallowed the doubt like a big gulp of water. Other nights he fell asleep too quickly, quicker than someone at peace. She lay there in the dark, wondering when was the last time they laughed together about anything. She couldn't remember. There was a time when Eduardo would stay up late with her, talking about nothing and everything. They'd share a bottle of wine, make plans, dream out loud. Now he turned away from her in bed, his back a wall she couldn't climb. She found herself staying up alone, scrolling through old photos on her phone, searching for the moment things changed. But there was no single moment. It was a slow fade, like color draining from fabric left too long in the sun. She started noticing the small rejections, too. When she reached for his hand, he'd moved to scratch his head. When she suggested a movie, he was too tired. When she cooked his favorite meal, he barely tasted it. It wasn't anger. It was worse. It was indifference. And indifference, she was learning, hurts more than any fight ever could. Life at the salon continued. Scissors, dryer, small talk, coffee. But inside, she felt an itch she couldn't name. Then came the calls. He stepped outside to answer. To the yard. To the car. Anywhere. Except near her. Work stuff. Lou. Clients. He said. She didn't complain. But deep down, she started taking mental notes. Call at 10 p.m. text on Sunday afternoon. Too many repeated excuses. One Sunday while he showered, his phone buzzed on the bed. Luisa didn't touch it. Didn't pick it up. Didn't open anything. But the screen lit long enough for her to see, "Will you come today?" Little heart emoji. She froze, then convinced herself, probably a mistake, a group chat, something silly. I won't overreact. Her hands shook as she set the table for lunch. She burned her finger on the hot pan and didn't even feel it. All she could see was that message, that heart, the casual intimacy of it. She wanted to scream, to throw the phone against the wall, to demand answers. But instead she served rice and beans with a smile, asked him about his morning, pretended everything was normal, because acknowledging it would make it real, and she wasn't ready for real yet. That night she dreamed of drowning, not in water but in silence. She woke up gasping, Eduardo sleeping soundly beside her, completely unaware that she was suffocating right next to him. But the universe wasn't going to let this story end quietly, because the truth was already booked for her 5 p.m. appointment. It was a soft Thursday afternoon, half cloudy, half bright. Louisa had just finished a blowout when a new message came through the salon's WhatsApp. "Hi, someone recommended you. They said you're amazing with haircuts. Do you have time this afternoon?" Name, Camila. Profile photo, a young woman, early 30s, brown hair, warm smile. Louisa fit her in at 5 p.m. Camila arrived exactly on time, walked in shyly, looking around like someone searching for comfort. "Hi, are you Louisa?" she asked, smiling. "Yes, welcome. Come sit." Camila sat. Louisa placed the cape around her and began evaluating her hair. "What do you want to do today?" "I want to change," Camila sighed. "Not just in my hair, in everything." Louisa smiled. She heard that line every week. "How much do you want to cut?" "A few inches. Maybe bangs. My boyfriend loves when I have bangs. Says I look like a movie girlfriend." They both laughed. A small phrase, nothing special, but it lodged itself somewhere inside Louisa. There was something about the way Camila said "my boyfriend" with such pride, such certainty. Louisa recognized that tone. She used to speak about Eduardo the same way, back when love felt like proof of something. Back when she believed being chosen meant being cherished. She felt a strange pang of nostalgia for her own naivety. Camila seemed nervous, fidgeting with the edge of the cape. "I haven't changed my hair in 2 years, she admitted. "I guess I got comfortable. But he always makes me feel beautiful, even when I don't try." Louisa nodded, sectioning her hair, wondering what it must feel like to still believe in someone that completely. Back in the chair, Camila talked more. "He's amazing, she said, dreamy, attentive, hardworking, sweet, takes care of me like no one ever has." Louisa kept cutting, listening politely. "That's rare," she said. "Yes, he's busy though, works a lot. But no matter what, he finds time to see me, even if just for a quick kiss. Busy, works a lot, always finding time." Words Louisa had heard before. Camila reached into her pocket. "Look," she said, "this is him." She turned the phone, and the universe shoved the truth right into Louisa's face. Louisa looked, and for a moment she felt like everything went silent. The face on the screen, she knew it. The jawline, the smile, the slight head tilt. It was Eduardo, her husband. The world muted. For a few seconds, Louisa heard nothing but her heartbeat and the faint hum of the hairdryer still plugged in. It wasn't someone who looked like him. It wasn't his brother. It wasn't coincidence. It was him. Eduardo, wearing the shirt she bought him, the watch she gifted him, smiling while embracing Camila in a restaurant she didn't recognize. They looked comfortable together. Too comfortable. Her first instinct was to drop the scissors. Her second was to laugh. A sharp, bitter laugh that stayed trapped in her throat. How many times had she ironed that shirt? How many times had she fastened that watch around his wrist before he left for work? The small, tender acts of love now felt like participation in her own betrayal. She thought about all the Saturdays he said he was too tired to take her out. "Let's just stay in, Lou. I need rest." And now here he was, rested enough to smile like that, to hold someone else like she was the only woman in the world. The restaurant looked expensive, candlelit, romantic, the kind of place he used to promise to take Louisa someday when things calmed down. Someday never came for her, but it came for Camila. "Isn't he handsome?" Camila asked proudly. Louisa forced a breath. She had two choices: explode or observe. And somehow she chose the second. She handed the phone back. "He is handsome," she said. Inside she screamed, "That's my husband. You're showing me my own husband as if I've never seen him before." But she kept cutting. Then Camila said the sentence that sealed the truth. "We've been together for almost a year. His marriage is basically over. He says he stays because he feels guilty. Poor guy." Louisa's grip tightened around the scissors. Camila kept going, oblivious. "He told me his wife is lazy, doesn't work, doesn't chase anything," and Louisa froze. Lazy. Doesn't work, doesn't chase anything. She remembered every bus she took, every course she paid for, every hour she worked so they didn't struggle. Almost a year. The words echoed in her mind like a cruel joke. She tried to count backward. A year ago, she was still decorating the salon. Eduardo had helped her hang that phrase on the wall. He'd kissed her that day, told her he was proud, and all along he was already building a second life, already lying, already rewriting her into a villain so he could play the victim to someone else. Lazy. The word burned. She wanted to grab Camilla by the shoulders and scream the truth. I built this salon with my own hands. I took buses for 2 hours to get to beauty school. I worked doubles to help pay for his engineering degree, but she didn't, because Camilla didn't deserve her rage. Camilla was just another woman fooled by the same man. She swallowed hard. Camilla kept talking about weekend surprises he promised her, the same weekends he told Luisa he was working. Luisa finished the cut. Camilla beamed at the mirror. He's going to freak out when he sees me. Luisa looked at her reflection, and in that moment she didn't see a rival. She saw another woman, deceived, used, lied to, and then she knew. Both of us were betrayed. We just didn't know it yet. After Camilla left, the salon felt too quiet. Luisa swept the floor, washed the brushes, turned off the dryer. Everything moved automatically while her mind rearranged the truth. She stood in front of the mirror holding a broom, staring at herself like a stranger. Who was this woman? The one who smiled through lies. The one who cut hair for the woman sleeping with her husband and said nothing. She didn't recognize herself. And maybe that was the saddest part, realizing she'd lost herself somewhere along the way, trying to hold together a marriage that had already ended. The phrase on the wall mocked her now. Sometimes a new haircut is just the excuse the soul finds to move forward. She'd painted those words believing in fresh starts. Now they felt prophetic. Her soul wasn't looking for an excuse anymore. It was demanding one. That night, Eduardo came home as if nothing was wrong. Hey love, tough day. I'm exhausted. She watched him with a new kind of clarity. I imagine, she said softly. Living two lives must be exhausting. He frowned slightly. What? Nothing. Thinking out loud. He rambled through dinner about projects, clients, stress. She listened, but she wasn't the same woman listening. She watched him chew, watched him scroll his phone between bites, watched him exist in her space like he belonged there. And she realized something. He'd been a stranger for months. She'd just been too afraid to admit it. Fear keeps us hostage longer than love ever does. When he reached for her hand across the table, a rare gesture, she didn't pull away. But she didn't feel anything either. The numbness was a mercy. It meant she was already beginning to let go. That night, while he slept, she stared at the ceiling. Camilla didn't know he was married. She clearly believed his lies. Neither woman was the villain here. For the first time, Luisa realized the only villain was the man lying to both, and the best revenge wasn't a scream, it was the truth. The next morning, Camilla messaged, "Lou, can we talk today? I felt something strange yesterday. I don't know. Just want to talk." Fate had decided this story needed closure. Camilla arrived at 10 a.m. nervous. Luisa sat in front of her. No scissors, no cape. "Camilla, can you promise something?" Luisa asked. "What I'm about to tell you. Don't blame yourself." "I promise." "What's happening?" Luisa took a breath. "Yesterday, when you showed me that picture, I recognized your boyfriend because he's my husband." Camilla's face crumbled. "Your husband?" "But he told me I know what he told you." Tears came fast. Not of rivalry, of shock. Luisa held her hand. "You didn't know. I saw it in your eyes. You were lied to just like I was." Camilla sobbed. "I'm so sorry, Luisa. I would never." "I know." The silence between them wasn't uncomfortable. It was heavy with shared grief. Two women mourning the same man, but in different ways. Camilla mourned the fantasy. Luisa mourned the years. Both losses were real. Both were valid. Camilla wiped her eyes with shaking hands. "I feel so stupid," she whispered. Luisa shook her head. "You're not stupid. You're human." "Psst, he's a good liar. I lived with him for years and didn't see it." That seemed to comfort Camilla a little. At least she wasn't alone in being fooled. After a long silence, Camilla whispered, "What to do?" Luisa thought for a moment. "I'm not fighting you. I'm done fighting other women for men who don't deserve us. But if you want, we can end this together." Camilla wiped her tears. "What do you mean?" Luisa smiled. And in that moment, the first spark of justice lit itself. The plan was simple. Because the greatest weapon Eduardo never expected was the two women talking. They compared timelines, screenshots, excuses. Everything matched perfectly. They sat side by side with coffee, phones open, piecing together the puzzle of his double life. Every business trip lined up with a romantic weekend. Every late meeting was a dinner date. The lies were so detailed, so calculated. He'd even created fake work emails to show Luisa when she asked questions. The depth of his deception was stunning. Camilla's voice broke as she scrolled through old messages. "He told me he loved me," she said quietly. Luisa nodded. "He told me that too." Once they sat with that for a moment, the realization that his words meant nothing. that love, real love, doesn't require lies to survive. On Saturday, he texted Camila, "Can't see you today. My ex is being dramatic. Next week I'll fix everything." Camila forwarded it to Louisa. That evening, Louisa prepared a normal dinner and then asked, "Can you help me with something in the salon?" He followed her inside. Camila sat in the salon chair. Eduardo froze. "Surprise," Louisa said calmly. "You know her, right?" His face drained of color. "It's not what? Explain it then," Louisa said. "To both of us," he stuttered. Camila stood up. "You lied to me. You said you were divorcing. You said she was lazy." "Lazy?" Louisa snapped. "This lazy woman built this entire salon." Eduardo tried to speak, but Louisa opened a folder. "These are separation papers. Already started. You won't need to lie to anyone anymore." Camila added, "And don't worry about breaking up with me. Consider it done." Eduardo looked lost, ridiculous, the villain in a story he thought he controlled. He tried one last manipulation. "Lou, we can talk about this. Alone, like adults." But Louisa just shook her head. "We are adults, Eduardo. That's why we're handling this with honesty. Something you clearly know nothing about." His shoulders slumped. The mask finally fell, and underneath was just a small, cowardly man who had gambled with two hearts and lost both. Camila didn't say another word to him. She didn't need to. Her silence was louder than any insult. She simply stood beside Louisa, a quiet statement of solidarity that said more than any speech could. Louisa opened the door. "Leave, and don't come back. This house is my peace again." He left. No drama, no shouting, just the truth cutting deeper than any scissors could. The next days weren't easy. Louisa cried, missed things she never truly had, nearly texted him, but every time she weakened, she remembered that scene in the salon, the truth revealed, the lies destroyed. She cried in the shower where no one could hear her. She cried folding laundry, seeing his empty side of the closet. She cried when a song came on the radio, when she cooked for one, when she woke up alone. Grief has no schedule. It arrives in waves, uninvited, relentless. But each wave was smaller than the last, and eventually she found herself floating instead of drowning. Her sister stayed with her for a week. They didn't talk much. They just existed together, watched movies, cooked meals, sat in comfortable silence. Sometimes healing doesn't need words. It just needs presence. And her sister's presence reminded Louisa she was never truly alone. Clients started showing up with whispers of, "You're so strong, Louisa." And she was. Camila returned weeks later with coffee and a terrible homemade cake. They laughed, talked, healed. Life moved forward. Eduardo tried messaging, regretting everything. She blocked him, not out of anger, out of self-respect. Today, when a client sits in her chair saying, "I need to change my life," Louisa smiles, picks up the scissors, and says, "Then sit down. We'll cut what no longer serves you and let the rest grow stronger." Because she learned that the truth may hurt, but it also frees, and nothing grows better than what is finally freed. If this story touched your heart, please subscribe to Stories We Tell, leave a like, and share it with someone who needs to hear it. Your support helps us keep creating stories about love, forgiveness, and second chances, because stories that touch the heart deserve to be told and remembered. Thank you for being here.